Alright guys, as you can see, I've done a lot more. I've put down plates on both sides. I've kind of worked on this for the last couple of hours, just trying to get these plates in the correct spots and making sure that there were enough pieces underneath to support these correctly and not allowing like an edge piece not to have any support underneath it. So again, I wanted to use these 6x8 white plates, but since all of them get covered up other than a couple in here, I was just explaining to myself, like, why does it matter what color they are? Why don't I just use other plates and make this work? So that's what I worked on, changing my design. I had to use some more 2x4s. I actually found a whole bunch more colored ones, so I put a whole bunch underneath there. But here's what we are having now. I'm still missing about 2/3 of all the parts I need, but since I'm slowly saving myself money on pieces, it's making it easier and easier to buy. Actually, having all of these plates right here was going to cost me about $20, which is, I know, a little crazy for some of you guys. But Lego is a lot more expensive, and the larger the piece, or sometimes the smaller the piece, these little single 1x1 plates are almost like 8 cents a piece, and so I've got 75 cents right here. These plates, on the other hand, are almost like $1, or sometimes like 50 cents a piece, 75 cents, and so having a whole row of them is going to be a lot. A lot of times just the 2x4 is just one of the cheapest pieces known, just because it's just so standard and common. Same with the 1x2 bricks. They're just super common. But let's keep going. I also worked on the instruction manual last night to make this a little easier for myself. We still have pieces out of order, but it's starting to get a little nicer, at least in some cases. A little nicer. Plus, this new instruction manual kind of makes things just a little odd. I got it into a PDF file, but now it's just so difficult. You can modify it, but to make a good instruction manual, you need to put tons of time and effort into doing this, when at the same time, do I want to do this? I mean, we're talking about a sixth of a gig to make the instruction manual for what will eventually be this entire design. Just tons of pictures, and that's not even edited and made to look a lot better. As I said before, this is video game mock, so I want from you guys still cool ideas of things to put in here, minifigs, and I'm not saying I'm going to pull off all of these. I want some great ideas. Some of these are going to ring true nostalgically for me with my video game collection, and I'm going to be like, oh, that'd be really awesome. I think that would be great, and then I will try and figure out a way to do it. Other games I've never played in my life, but they're culturally significant. That's why I went with Fortnite for the entire scenery as the battleground that I will slowly build out. Fortnite is just so prevalent at this time in video game lives, and with millions and millions of kids playing it, it matters. So that's what I want to do. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do other cool things all over the place. I want to make this as sweet as possible. So we're starting to get pieces that are actually going to show up. So this is 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8. So And then these should, as I layer things on, be underneath, but in case they aren't, I will make adjustments on pieces that don't look as nice, or if I have to, I'll wait to purchase more. Now some of these are further back, so it doesn't matter what piece I use, I just want it hid. This is also kind of hard to do. I never set this up exactly the way I want to, so I wish this table could be closer to my computer, but it just doesn't work that well in my basement here. And so I have to go back over the computer to check out my instructions. And again, like I said, some of them are in the wrong order. I'll see if I can attach a picture of maybe after the fact, or I can upload some pictures of the Fortnite spot. I think it's near Tilted Towers, if I remember right. And again, I haven't played Fortnite enough, so it's kind of weird that I chose this as the layout. But again, I told you it matters for the purpose that I want. It's almost kind of sad. I almost need more 2x4s. I might actually have to go get some more trashy ones to keep finishing this off. And the sad thing is I'm running out of trashy ones. There's actually a whole bunch on what my stand is actually on right now, and a bunch of people are now like, well, why aren't you taking apart that and doing that? And I'm just explaining that sometimes that's just not, I need that a little bit. That actually was my first mock that I ever started working on, and you have to remind yourself of your failures. It wasn't the greatest, but it was what it was. Okay, so my model reset when I was doing the instructions, and so now I'm looking at this is what I'm supposed to be building, but I already built it because they were out of order before, so that is perfectly fine. Okay, now this is coming along. Still, there's pieces under here that still need to be taken care of, but I'll get there. And part of me is thinking I should just buy all of the 2x2 tiles and get them all down. And I also have tons of these light gray, but I really don't know if I like that in the grand scheme of things. An order a while ago that I placed had a mistake where the company that was sending me the pieces, well, I made a small mistake in putting that tile down and actually pushing it down hard. There we go. But so I got this giant container of these, and it's sad because if they were just the dark bluish gray, then we'd be done already. I wouldn't have to worry about that at all. But the dark bluish gray is just something, while I have a giant bag of pieces, they just aren't many of the tiles I actually want. So, I will admit, I actually just found 2 tiles, which is great, because that just works right there. And this is probably this one right there. See? And every once in a while you just find pieces to make your life better. That's great. I'll have to work more and see what else I can find. Just to slowly keep making this come along. Alright, so we got... And again, when I was making this, I was making 1x4 chunks initially, and now I realized that I could do 1x12s, 1x8s plates to fix it. So it's just cool to slowly realize that, hey, you could have been making this so much easier on yourself. So we're in some weird places now. So this is the halfway point. So there would have been a 6. And then up 4, and we would have done that. Oh yeah. So in my mock, I've got the Thunderjaw sitting in here, and I've got his feet in certain places. And what I wanted to do was actually make imprints, like Jurassic Park, imprints into the ground, so push into it, and then build up around the edges to show that the ground, he had so much weight that he pushed down the ground and then made a cool thing. So I actually worked for a couple of days on just getting one footprint, and then once I had the one footprint, I could make it over to the second footprint pretty easily. It didn't take that much more work. For some reason I have a 1x1, which probably would almost be easier to have 2x2 back here and then cover it with something, but it's what I have for now. So we'll see if I made a mistake or 13. I'm wondering if I've offset this just a little bit. Since this is center, I might be over here actually, so I might be, everything might be 2 over. That's the other problem with working on such a big mock, is most instruction manuals that are computer generated, you have to show most of the mock all at the same time. You can't too easily, with a lot of the programs, without a lot of time and effort, make the show what you want to show, and so kind of ignore part, not without getting exact placement of like how many pieces from this corner are you over to hit to here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13 pieces. That should be right, and then up 4 to that. So yeah. All right, now we're at the right spot. So that's much better. These are now in the correct spot. Also, always nice to go over a seam with another plate if you can ever make it work. It's always a good goal to try and do because you build strength out of your mock. This was something I actually didn't realize in my first, and so what I was doing was building a setup that was filling in space, but I was just building it in a tower. And then eventually I realized that these can bow out if they aren't compressed in, but literally by when you're building, just having a piece underneath, that strengthens the whole piece as a whole. So hopefully, if I've done my designing right, this should be pretty strong. Like I said, again, I only did the two 32 by 32 plates to try and keep this small enough. That way it doesn't cost me as much and I can just easily build out. What I will do is the holes on either side, I will build another two 32 by 32 plates and then push it into, into these holes, lock it in, and then the next ones I will have to push in from the opposite side. And then hopefully this will all just slowly build out over time, if I did my job right. Like I said, I'm just a novice at this. I'm not an amazing builder, but I'm trying. See, for instance, this is one of those weird times where I'm just confused at what I was trying to accomplish, because I've got a whole bunch more 1x1s, and that's what I'm being told in my instruction manual to use to build this out. The problem is why do I want to do this? Why don't I just use 1x2s and use them in the same spots? Also, for some reason, you guys can probably see it and are laughing at me right now, but I'm missing, there's my 1x2s. So, and this is just another bit in the creative process of me working on this. Well, for this one, I might just have to use a single, because it's not, without taking the whole plate off and spending more time than I need to. And I have tons of 1x1s now. But again, we're talking an 8-cent piece. So really, do I want to use that many? Also, this could have been a 1x3. So been a 1x3. That would have just been better. And then we have another single. Also, one thing that you'll sometimes find is when you only have one layer away from a color, they can bleed through. So this little crack, if it was just at an angle too much, people could probably see through and see that there was color rather than more white below that. Wouldn't look the greatest sometimes, but sometimes you can minimize that and sometimes you can't. Now we're actually getting to areas of problem. This was something I knew was going to be coming up, but there were certain colors I don't have a ton of. Reddish brown, for instance, I don't have. So for now, we're just going to build it with what I do, and then I'm going to have to come back, or we're going to have to skip instructions and literally come back to it a little later. Interesting. I might have actually made a mistake again. No, that's right. Trying to figure out which piece. That should be a 2x2. So I might just do that. And I wanted to have different browns in here, just because. There's my 2x2s. So I have these reddish colors that I could mix in. This is supposed to be muddy ground that when the footprint is stepped in, that you can see where the grass was and where the snow was. I've got different colors as well to mix in, but for now, we kind of are stuck with what we have. I think this is over here, and this is there. So there's a piece there. Technically, that's how that's going to have to be. This is actually over one. I technically have I could have an L bracket and stuff, but this is what I am stuck with, so it's what we're going to use for now, at least. And I might, again, like I said, just have to come back to this. There's no guarantee that I've got. I definitely don't have the colors I need or all the right pieces. All right. Sadly, I need the other version, the flipped one of this, and I'm out. So, rather than try and come up with another idea on the fly, we might just have to switch over to some of the more green pieces for now and see if this will work. what I'm doing is I'm grabbing all my green plate that I want for this. Also, remember that Lego was always designed to be changed up. You never have to do the same thing over and over. Ah, there we are. I think that covers enough. Yeah, there'd be a 1x1 brown under here, and that's what I'm using. I could have used not a plate. I could have used a 1x2 and a 1x2 plate or a tile, which actually might be the better idea if this is really, yeah, I think that is. So we are going to swap that around if we can. And this is what you create. Lego is not supposed to be the same thing over and over and over. You want to make changes. You want to have new ideas. You want to improve upon your design. I mean, that's just what you want to do. And if something doesn't look right, you fix it. You make it better. And then you go back and you do it again. And if you change something again and it's better the next time, then sometimes it works. I mean, sometimes it doesn't. Multiple times I have started a project and just ditched it because I wanted to do it later, and I wanted to go after I worked on some other ideas. That's the cool thing about Lego is you're always learning. I learned so many new techniques just by buying Lego sets. The simplicity of how they made the Diva with so few bends. Now I can start, if I want to, take apart some of these and make more sockets to make the legs move a lot more and have more motion, because I want this to be jumping probably in my final idea. But I think we're getting to an interesting point where I just can't keep building at the moment in certain spots without getting more pieces. So I might have to flip through the instruction manual for a while and see what else I can do and see if we can go to the next step, or if I need to just go purchase some colors. So for now, you guys have a good time, and I will see you next time.